Today's topic on the Legal Minute: child custody and child support. Certainly the biggest issue in any divorce is who gets the kids. Let's start with some basic definitions. There are generally two types of custody: legal custody and physical custody. In legal custody, we're talking about a child's big decisions: the religion the child is brought up in, access to school activities and medical records, and a joint decision between you and your ex about whether a child, say, has life-saving medical procedures performed, which of course carry a danger in themselves. In most states, and certainly here in Nevada, there's an expressed preference for joint legal custody. Joint legal custody means you're both the parent of this child. There's traditionally a very high burden to have anything other than joint legal custody of your children, since you have a constitutional right to be a parent. Physical custody, on the other hand, is who a child primarily lives with. In many states, and certainly here in Nevada, there's an express preference for joint physical custody, meaning the child lives almost equally with both parents. This can be either a week on, week off, month on, month off, 3.5 days, 3.5 days, and in some cases 3 days, 4 days, 4 days, 3 days type arrangement. In order for a parent to obtain primary physical custody, where the child primarily lives with them and only has visitation with the ex-spouse, a number of factors are going to be weighed by the judge, and the burden is usually on you to show the court that the other parent isn't fit to have joint physical custody. The factors that a judge will use in determining whether or not your ex-spouse is a fit parent vary widely from state to state, but they almost always include the best interest of the child standard. Factors beyond that include issues of domestic violence. Has your spouse committed domestic violence, physical, verbal, or sexual abuse, upon you, the child, or anyone else? Issues such as drug and alcohol abuse. Did your spouse get a DUI last month? Are they currently using drugs? Whether it's crystal meth, marijuana, cocaine, etc. These types of things can be shown in drug tests. One of the most surprising factors that judges use in determining custody isn't something most people think of, and that's which parent will foster the healthiest relationship between the child and the other parent. They don't like to see parents utilizing children as a weapon. While there are a list of factors, the last one I want to mention today is the living situation for the child. For example, is the home and the other parent clean? And is it safe? Are there guns in the home that are left out casually? Does the child have a bed? Is the child forced to share a room with another child? What are the ages of the child? And perhaps most importantly, with older children, what are the children's preferences? Regarding child support, if you have joint physical custody, then child support is paid by each spouse to the other, so the spouse which has the higher income pays the difference. In the state of Nevada, child support is statutorily set: 18% for one child, 25% for two children, 29% for three children. It's important to know that if you have a child support order, you must go back to court if your financial circumstances change significantly. If you're laid off and you're supposed to be paying $800 a month in child support, that child support order will continue to accrue until you go back to the court and explain to them that you don't make the money you used to. This can have devastating consequences, including suspension of your driver's license. And if the arrears get high enough, a motion for contempt can be filed by the district attorney, and you can be placed in jail for failure to pay. If you should be a non-custodial parent, meaning you're not the parent with primary physical custody or joint physical custody, you receive visitation, but you must pay child support, and the other parent will get the tax deduction for that child. A typical visitation schedule might be every other weekend from Friday after school to Sunday after dinner. Wednesdays, Thursdays during the week for dinner from, say, 5 to 7 p.m. Alternating holidays, and of course, 2 to 4 weeks in the summer for vacation. Where this gets tricky is that visitation is very flexible and ultimately up to the judge to decide. The best case scenario is you and your ex-spouse can work out a visitation schedule that makes sense for both of your work schedules. The biggest problem arising with visitation is when one parent wishes to move out of state or a significant distance away with the minor child. Most courts require that either you have the court's permission or the written permission of the other parent before you can move the child out of state. If a court should permit you to move out of state, you're generally speaking going to be responsible for the other parent's travel expenses for visitation. Many parents do not want their ex-spouse moving from their present location with the child, and courts, by and large, don't like to let parents move and deny one-parent visitation. However, a court is ultimately going to make this decision based on the best interest of the child, and more importantly, why the other parent wants to move. For example, if you and your spouse live here in Las Vegas, but you have no family here, very few friends, and no real support network, and one or both of you are unemployed, staying in Las Vegas wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. If, on the other hand, your ex-spouse wants to move back to, say, Vermont, where they came from, because they can get a job there, they have family who can help raise the child and look after the child when they're at work, those are good reasons for moving from the state. The judge will be the ultimate arbiter in this. In short, you should always consult a licensed attorney in your area who's practiced in family law. Family laws vary very widely from state to state, and what works here could be significantly different from what works in just one state over. My name is John Cereso with the Nevada Law Group. Should you have questions or comments about this topic, feel free to visit our website, www.nevadalawgroup.com. This has been The Legal Minute.